Hi, a very warm welcome to Dust Shelf. I do hope I find you well, and back on to another review of some of the Olympic memorabilia from the 2012 London Olympics in Stratford. As I said the other evening, probably we're about let's say 20-30 miles away from where I sit at the moment, just on the east side of London. Now, reviewed the other evening this set, which was the 1948 London Olympics train set. It's on the channel if you want to see it, with the Class N2 locomotive and the two lovely T coaches on there. Tonight, the second set of the series, the Olympic Museum, two sets. This is the second set, which has the country class locomotive on here, the County of Radnor. So I actually did look this up. I've always pronounced it as Clerstroy, and actually it's Clersstory. It is actually Clersstory. So these are Clersstory coaches. I'm going to correct myself on that one and make sure that I say it correctly all the way through. These two lovely coaches in there. So obviously GWR this time round. They start at the same place in the catalogue. So again, this is the 2011 catalogue, so a year before the Olympics. These two sets first appeared. We had the 1908 set, the 1948 set. I know I'm repeating myself from the other evening, but some people might not have seen that video. So the two sets depicted Loco Pack from 1908 and a Loco Pack from 1948, but also the year depicted the number in the limited edition. So this one had 1908, this 1948, and I said the other evening that you know, really in the spirit of limited edition, when you're getting towards 2000, that really is pushing the spirit of those words. So I wouldn't consider these as limited edition packs by any stretch of the imagination, and certainly from what I saw the previous pack, you know, this is really is a railroad loco, so I'm not expecting a great deal, particularly from the loco. The train packs were then repeated in the 2012 catalogue, this time just with a smaller bit at the front of the catalogue. Let me just turn to that page where, you know, the official products of the 2012 Olympics were advertised. You've got the Olympic Stadium in resin. There's a review of that on the channel. That's really is naff, and I kept saying through the review why, because I just can't believe why that was ever produced. And then here's the two train packs in question, which is the 1948 one again and the 1908 just at the bottom there. So that was in the 2012 catalogue. And let's get on to the price list. So this one is the, let me make sure I've got the right one here. That's the 2011 price list. Let's look at the 2012. It might be interesting to actually see if there's a difference in the price between the two. So in 2011, 163,204. And then in this one, 163,204. So they're the same prices. So because the price is the same for 2011 2012, we'll look at the 2012 price list. It says here R2980 London Olympics 1908 limited edition, £163.99. So this is the actually cheaper of the two sets, even though it's a smaller run and probably a slightly nicer loco by the look of it. Now these again for sale, I've seen them around. They've actually held the price a little bit more than the 1948. 1948 you seem to be able to pick up for around about, I don't know, £130. These seem to be a little bit more, maybe 140, maybe pushing to 150. So although this was the cheaper set, these do seem to have held their value slightly more. Even though both sets have lost a considerable amount of value, as all Hornby does. And it's quite surprising, the one with the smaller production run and also the lower retail price in 2012 is the one that's held its value better, but yeah, who knows. So on the box here we've got the Olympic Museum London 2012 collection. There was only two of these released, so it's not really a collection, there's just the two train packs. Limited edition to 1908 London Olympics 1908 00 gauge electric train. We've got on here the GWR 440 county class locomotive, County of Radnor. We've got a third class, and I'm going to get it right, Clersstory composite coach, and a third class Clersstory brake coach. Nothing on this box though about the World's Fair as far as I can see so far, but let's turn it over. And on the back here, oh, there's the World's Fair poster. So they're still carried across the World's Fair in Louisiana into their, you know, schematic showing the posters from the different Olympics, which is just a really bizarre thing to do. And on the back here we've got the 2012 Olympics logo and the 2012 Olympics hologram saying that this is a licensed product. Thank you for purchasing this official product of the London 2012. Your purchase supports the London 2012 Olympics and Paralympic Games. And there's not really much else to say on the back here. This is just the normal warnings about age restrictions. On the sides of the box, not really much to show. So I think what we'll do is let's just get inside and let's have a look at this Loco. Now this one I don't think I've ever had open, which is pretty shameful to have these things in my collection, and I've never even opened the box to have a look at the Loco inside. I think this is one that originally I wanted to keep mint because I thought it would be oh no, I have opened it. The sellotape has been cut through, so it is one that I have looked at, which is good. So some of these at the time I thought they'd be collectible, and there's not many, but just one or two that I put to one side, you know, as sort of mint in box kind of things. Right, we've got the instructions here. Not a great deal of detail again on here, so just the oiling points that around the Loco, how to get the body off, and again the decoders that go in here. I would expect something like a 6-pin decoder given the age of the Loco. Looking at the chip there, very, very rudimentary digital should you wish to go there. Nothing else on here, and certainly nothing about separately fitted parts. So just oiling and the usual running hints. Then we've got the certificate of authenticity for what it's worth. This particular set I've got is number 656. I mean, some people do like these. I know some people do actually frame these certificates, but for me, you know, once you get onto a limited run of, you know, nearly 2,000, I mean, they're not really limited in any stretch of the imagination. So it's always nice to have the certificate, I suppose. You know, these do look quite nice, and it gives the same information here that it gave in the catalogue. I will read this out when we do some detailed shots of the Loco, as I did in the previous review of the 1948. And on the back here, the same words. Hornby first commenced the production of 00 model railways 70 years ago. During that time, the world of model railways has seen many changes, but Frank Hornby's initial ethos still holds true today, and that is his belief in attention to detail and the need to capture the essence of the original, thus creating a true miniature likeness. Couple these two beliefs with superb running qualities, and you have exquisite Hornby models of quality and distinction. And again, Simon Kohler, as always, when there's a bit of marketing, as somebody pointed out, you know, there's his signature on there. Right, let's get into the train pack. First of all, what's in here? So this is, oh, we've got a couple of vacuum pipes. That's your detailing pack, and the little rubber sleeve should you wish to put DCC in the Loco, and that is it, nothing else in here. So let's get into the Loco first of all. Quite a handsome looking train, but again extremely light, really, really light. It is Loco driven. I can feel the wheels there. It's Loco driven, not tender driven, but there really is no weight to this at all. Yeah, it is extremely light, and we'll weigh the Loco in a minute, but let's go round. So in terms of in the cab, moulded in cab features, nothing picked out in paint. We've got a couple of separate fitted handrails either side of the tender, which is nice to see. And there's also a couple of fitted brake handles. They're separately fitted there onto the tender, which is pretty good. Painting round it is really crisp, really, really good. Little bit of a problem on top of the boiler there. I don't know what it is with this orange paint, but every Loco that I've had with this kind of orange tint just has really sloppy painting on the top of the boiler there. And then the lining down the bottom here, I thought this was a problem, but it's actually where the lining's gone over little rivets, and down the front there, there's little rivets in the moulding, and obviously they've tried to line over the top of it, so it does look a little bit odd. Separately fitted handrail down the side here, moulded in smokebox dart. On the buffer beam, we do have, oh no sprung buffers on this, so solid buffers. Very crisp lettering though, very crisp lettering on the front. The chimney painting is separately fitted gold piece on here, or bronze piece that's on here. That doesn't look too bad. And the painting around the safety valve release is quite crisp, that's not bad at all. Separately fitted whistles, separately fitted hourglasses, quite a nice finish. The tender side, I mean, the painting on this is just superb, it really is superb. And again, around the back of the Loco, painting is really good. A couple of moulded in footrests, and down on the chassis you can see the detailing and how the painting has been put on there. Really nicely done. Very basic mechanism on the motion, but I guess it doesn't need much more than that. But yeah, there's not a lot to it on there. And again, with this front pony truck sort of floating in there, again, not a lot of detail on it. Now, I do believe, obviously, this is quite an old loco, I think at least 1980s, and as people pointed out on the 1948 pack, you know, the loco in there had certainly done the rounds right from mainline through a couple of manufacturers before it finally ended up at Hornby. So yeah, I'm sure people will fill in the details on where this loco's been over the years, but yeah, very basic loco, and at best you've got to consider this a railroad loco. Certainly not one that I would expect to see with this kind of quality in the main range. And one final thing to point out, nice little lining on the side of the cylinders there. It's quite nice to see, but we'll see how this runs in a moment. Obviously the really big old Hornby couplings on here, no NEM coupling, and as I say, no sprung buffers on here, so it really is a basic loco. Anyway, before I take it over to the railway, let's just pop this on the scales. 241 grams. I mean, to be frank, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? No weight to that at all. So yeah, it's a very lightweight loco, especially with a tender included. 240 grams. Anyway, let's have a look at the coaches. Let's do this one first. Right, these definitely haven't been out the box, so let's try and slide these out. This is the old you know, cardboard Hornby packaging that they did for a little while. Right, these are actually really nice, although they are a very old moulding, and obviously at the end here, you know, it's a little bit clunky with the concertina moulded in. The painting on the side of these is very well done. You can see all of the little handrails are all picked out, the door handles are all picked out in the painting. We've got numbers on top of all the carriages, which is really nice. On the top of the roof here, all the louvers very well defined. Let's come down this side, and again on this side we've got third, so all the third class, well, it's a third class carriage, but again the printing is so crisp, beautifully printed logo on the side there, and same on this side. Yep, that's there. And we've got some printing down on the chassis as well. Not a great deal of detail underneath the cab, just with a couple of bits picked out, and the same on that side. But actually, as a model to have going around on your layout, that's quite a nice carriage, and it's a good weight as well. It's not a bad weight. We've got metal wheels on here, but still these clunky old couplings. No sprung buffers on these, but the interior looks all right. We've got a corridor down this side of the coach, and obviously compartments on the other side. Not particularly detailed inside, but at least the interior is picked out. So that's one of the coaches. Looking down from above, it's quite like the way those are painted. Quite neat in the fact that the brown sort of lining disappears towards the end. Yeah, but no actual fitted parts all round, unlike the coaches which came with the 1948 pack. They had all little separately fitted handles, and these parts on top, these were all separately fitted, whereas on this coach these are all moulded in. Let's have a look at the other coach. So this one's very much the same. We've got the little overhang on the side here, I'm guessing for sort of the mail pickup. Again, the lights in the clear story top of the coach, and we've got meshing across on the windows, which is quite well done. Again, the painting is extremely good on these. You know, really good. The crest is very crisp. All of the gold lines don't look too bad. Now, I said the painting was really good, and then I picked up, as I was looking at this, that sort of these lines stop at the doors, but actually that's a running theme, so I think that's supposed to be like that. So you've got the gold sort of panelling in between the doors, and then when you get to the door it's a little bit reduced. It runs on all of the doors all the way along, and the same on this side, exactly the same. So yeah, that is how it's supposed to be. But yeah, very smart pair of coaches. Anyway, let's get this over to the layout. Let's do some detailed shots, and let's take this for a run round and see how it runs. Reading from the certificate that came in the box, the summer of 1908 was an exciting time for those who lived in and around London, as the city played host to the 4th modern Olympic Games. This limited edition 1908 train pack contains models representative of the type of locomotive and carriages that would have been seen pulling into London Paddington in the early years of the 20th century, some no doubt carrying passengers whose final destination was to visit the games. We're just repeating how light this loco is, and I've just picked up on the fact that it's got a seam line running across the top of the boiler, which really annoys me. The other thing is, straight out of the box, one of the traction wheels tyres was hanging off, so I've had to lift the body off and put that back on. And when I first put it on the track, absolutely nothing. I'm guessing, probably, to be fair, where it's been sitting for the last 12 years hasn't been run. After a couple of back and forth on test track, it seems to have loosened up a little bit, so hopefully it'll be okay. So let's give it a little bit of power. Now, straight off the bat with this one, like the 1908, I'm actually going to down power my HM controller, so it's on half power and high impedance. I'm just going to give it a little bit of power now and see what control we've got on this loco. It's a little bit of wheel slip. Yeah, that's rear wheel. I'm guessing only one of these, the pair of these wheels here, only one of them's actually a drive wheel. If you watch the rear wheel, you get a little bit of movement as it takes up the slack in the motion. Yeah, you can see it there. Quite a noisy motor as well. Now, one of the other things I did notice when I was running it up and down the test track is if you stop it abruptly, the balance of the loco is really strange, and with its light weight, if you stop it too suddenly, you get the nose go down and the rear wheels lift off the track, which isn't particularly clever. But let's run it back and forth. So a little bit of wheel slip there as it takes up the motion. Yeah, quite noisy. And as I say, it does jump around a little bit. Anyway, let's hook it up to the carriages and let's take it around the track. Well, how do I close this review? So the train, let's start with the train. Very, very lightweight. Definitely a railroad loco. Again, very similar to the previous Olympic train pack that I reviewed. Do like the painting on it though. The lining on it is really superbly done, and it's quite a handsome looking loco to have going around on the layout. Obviously very basic, as I say, definitely railroad. Don't like the big couplings on it. I mean, it could do with those changing over to NEM couplings, but I mean, it wouldn't take a lot to just weather this in and pick out a few bits with a paintbrush to make this look even better. Coaches, I do like them. They look really good, although extremely basic with no separate fitted parts. Again, the painting really does shine through. And remember, this is the cheaper of the two Olympic sets from the, I think they called it the Olympic Museum, didn't they? This is the cheaper of the two. £169 it's retailed at. And you can still pick these up. And as I say, they're probably about 140-ish now. So for 140 quid, I don't know, you see, because this one is a little bit different to the 1948 set. The 1948 set had those lovely teak coaches in there that really did stand out. Whereas these, although they're really nice, they are just, you know, sort of box standard coaches. So I suppose as a train pack, yes, indeed, it's got to be worth 140 quid of somebody's money. You've got a couple of coaches in there, and you've got a decent running loco, and given today's prices, I mean, they are absolutely astronomical. So yeah, I think not a bad set. Been a nice little runner. It's gone around the layout for the last 20 minutes, half an hour while I've been filming some footage. And apart from those little teething errors at the beginning where the traction tyre had come off one side, and yeah, not actually running first out of the box, I had to give it a few nudges till it turned the wheel a few times. After that, it's been absolutely superb. Now again, with this loco, I have had to run it on low power and sort of high impedance to get any control over the loco. So if I run the settings on the HM controller the same as I would with a normal Hornby or a modern day Hornby loco, this thing just takes off a rapid pace. So yeah, really having to turn the controllers down to get any control over both this one and the 1948 pack. Anyway, I hope there was interest. I said I would do the review on this pack, and yeah, indeed, watch out for the Javelin ones that I've got sort of halfway through production at the moment. One in purple, one in white. I'm going to compare the two and see how they look. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up, and as always, please do check out the channel. There's plenty of videos on there, and if you can subscribe, you'd be doing me a really big favour. And with that, I'm going to leave this one there and just say thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.